Well, hello. You always seem to catch me at the strangest times. Currently, I am studying the end of the book of Genesis so we can relate it all to you. If you've been here during it, you've seen all of these things. It's about creation and God creating something out of nothing. It's been about nakedness and fruit and trees and babies. And it's about brothers. It's about cities and floods. It's about a big boat with a whole lot of animals shoved inside, wine and more nakedness, but this time you're passed down in tent. And that's not a good thing in your tent. And steak and bacon, speckled and spotted sheep and mutton busting and lentil stew. It's about stone knives and flint knives and circumcision and a whole lot of unhappy 13-year-old boys going on. And about a baby that's promised and maybe he's coming, maybe he's not. We don't really trust what's gonna happen. And oh, it's a big mess. And pillars of salt. There's 40-year-old virgins. It's about anger and retribution and betrayal. It's about making food for 50 people when only 3 people actually show up. Feminine hygiene products and periods and menstruation, all the things you don't really want to talk about in church, but you got to because it's in the Bible. And tricking furry red people, and there is retribution, and then there's reconciliation and coming back together. It's about sex, lust, and fornication, and false gods and the real God. And there is God's sovereignty and God choosing and God bringing hope to all of mankind. Well, that's so far. Now we're going to be looking at prayer and seeking who God is. MMA with Jesus as he shows up and beats people up. It's about an LBD, a night out on the town. We're gonna look at giving a whole lot of your stuff away. Not supposed to be living in fear, but you do live in fear. There is death, there is birth, there is hope, there's favoritism, and a pimp coat, and I'm sure there was a hat. And a whole lot of brothers angry that somebody has a pimp coat and nobody else does. So there's jealousy, and then there's slavery, and a booty call. And not just one, but 2 of them. And neither one of them end up good. There's actually jail time that comes out of one of the booty calls. It's about redemption and rednecks, and rings and chariots, and a whole hip-hop story that goes on with a whole lot of bling. And then there's reconciliation and prayers being answered and trusting God to be who he says he is actually going to be and taking you to the places where he knows you actually need to go, but you don't really want to go because you're too afraid to go there. The Beverly Hillbillies and a really old man preaching the gospel to another really old man who doesn't really want to hear the gospel, but he needs to hear the gospel anyway. And there's a sadness to the end of the story because the end of the story is wholly unlike the beginning. But the end of Genesis is not the end of the story. The end of the story is God's glory and our joy and God bringing good to his people whom he loves. So I hope you will join us for Genesis, the final chapters, coming January 2013.